Do you really believe that working hard is what makes people wealthy? If that were true, why do construction workers who wake up at 5 in the morning stay broke? Why are nurses, teachers, and rideshare drivers still in debt even though they work twice as much as the average person? The truth is, hard work alone does not create wealth, but a single habit can change your whole financial reality. I'm Bob Proctor, and I went from drowning in debt to earning millions cleaning offices. No degree, no experience, no luck. Would you like to know what shifted it all? One habit. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works and why most people never hear about it. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others live in endless struggle, despite working themselves to exhaustion? The answer isn't in their resume or hours worked. It lies in something rarely discussed: frequency. I'm talking about the frequency of money. Money is energy, and energy vibrates. Your body, emotions, voice, and even your thoughts carry vibrations. And money, it has its own unique frequency too. Here's the harsh reality. If you're not vibrating at the same frequency as money, you will never hold on to it. You might earn some, but it slips away. That used to be my story. I couldn't sleep. I was earning about $4,000 a year while owing over $6,000. That's nearly $10,000 in the negative. I'd look in the mirror and ask, why is life so hard? Then a mentor drew a big letter R and said, Bob, R stands for results. They reflect your inner vibration. My vibration was one of scarcity, debt, and frustration. And life was giving me exactly that. Painful to admit, but necessary. You might be resonating with that same energy. Maybe you wake up wondering how deep in debt you already are, or go to sleep calculating if you'll have enough to cover the power bill. That's not living. That's surviving. You weren't born to survive. You were born to thrive. My turning point came when I realized I had to change my vibration, not my surroundings. Even while broke, I began to think intentionally about abundance. I replaced, how will I pay for this second, with, how can I create more income? That small mental shift changed my entire reality. Why? Because when you change your frequency, you begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before. Where I once saw only problems and lack, I now heard people discussing ideas, business, wealth creation, and I realized they'd always been there. I had just been blind to it. One day I heard a man say he made money cleaning offices. That clicked for me. I thought, no ego here, I'll clean too, but I'll do it on my own terms. I borrowed money to buy a mop, a bucket, and a used floor polisher. My first job paid about $15, then $65. Within months, I was making over $12,500 monthly. And that was back in the year 1961. Do you see? The money was already there, the frequency was real. What changed was me. Once I aligned my inner world with the vibration of abundance, money flowed to me. Not by magic, but by frequency, and you can do the same. I only needed to tune into it. And now I ask you, have you been thinking more about debt or about solutions, about lack or about abundance? Are you focused on paying the least or earning the most? Maybe you're saying, Bob, it's tough to think positive when I'm at rock bottom. And I get it. I've been there myself. But it's exactly at the bottom that you must choose, because from there the only direction is up. And here's the habit that pulled me up. Every single day I read a card where I had written down my goal even when it felt ridiculous. I wrote that I wanted $25,000, which at the time sounded completely out of reach, like pure fantasy. I had no idea what that amount even looked like. I didn't know how I'd get it, but I kept reading that card anyway, day after day. And every time I read it, it planted a seed. That seed started shifting my vibration, attracting people, ideas, courage, and most of all, action. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is shaped by what you think about all the time. Science has already proven this. Studies in quantum physics and neuroscience show that thoughts generate electromagnetic fields, and repeating a thought strengthens neural pathways enough to actually alter how we perceive our reality. That's why that card worked. It snapped my mind out of autopilot and made it focus on what I truly wanted to bring into existence. Now stop listening to me for a moment and ask yourself, what has your mental station been tuned to these past few months? Are you broadcasting, I can, I will succeed? Or are you stuck in, I can't, it's impossible, this isn't for me? The world responds to your frequency. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energy your mind consistently puts out. That's why this habit is so powerful and so often ignored, because it forces you to think for yourself and rise above fear and noise. Are you ready to begin now? When you were a kid, you probably heard things like money is filthy, wealth is dangerous, or only those who suffer deserve to earn. You didn't question it because before the age of 7, your subconscious is wide open, and everything it hears turns into unquestioned truth. Now you might be 30, 40, or even 50 years old, but you're still living under beliefs formed when you were just 5. Your paradigm shapes how you see the world, how productive you are, how creative you feel, how you manage time, and above all, how much you earn. You might say, "But Bob, I've taken courses, read dozens of books, and really tried to change, and I believe you wholeheartedly." But here's the hard truth. Unless you shift your inner programming, your behavior resets the moment things get tough. Let me tell you a story. A woman came to me after one of my talks, having just received a court settlement of roughly $300,000. She had never seen that kind of money before. 2 years later, it was gone, every last cent, and she'd even accumulated more debt. Why? Because the money changed, but her mindset didn't. Scarcity was still driving her, and it always finds a way to recreate itself. It's like handing someone a luxury car when they've only ridden bicycles. If they crash, it's not malice, it's lack of mental preparation. Your paradigm doesn't just control how much you make, it controls how much you believe you're allowed to make. I've seen people reject life-changing offers because they felt it was too good for them, as if they didn't deserve that kind of abundance. Even I went through it. When I started making real money, a lot of it I felt out of place, like it wasn't meant for me. I thought it was just luck, and the downfall was right around the corner because deep down I still carried a scarcity belief system. I had grown up hearing that the world was harsh, that success was reserved for the few, and now I was one of those few. The internal conflict was so strong that I started sabotaging myself, blowing money at casinos like I wanted to get rid of it. Eventually, I realized I was trying to return to my comfort zone of failure, because success required a brand new self-image. That's why I always say, changing jobs, cities, partners, or plans won't change your life if your paradigm remains the same. Start by identifying your internal script. Do you always fall apart at the same point, spend everything you earn, or doubt yourself despite proof? Those are signs pointing directly at the belief running your life. And once you spot it, it's time for conscious reprogramming. It's not easy. Replacing one belief with another takes repetition, consistency, and ruthless awareness of your thoughts. I spent years doing the work, but once I realized this was the root of everything, I never stopped. I stayed committed no matter what. Don't be fooled. Change doesn't feel magical right away. In the beginning, it feels like nothing's happening, but something always is. Because once the root shifts, the fruit follows naturally. And today I invite you to choose that shift before life forces your hand. Don't wait until it all falls apart. Don't wait for unbearable pain. Decide now, because what's limiting you isn't the world, it's your belief. You've been living under a mindset passed down to you, but now's the time to bury it and design a life that's truly yours. You were born with infinite potential, but you've been running on a mental program installed without your permission. Only you can uninstall it. So what's the move? Keep replaying what others taught you, or finally create the life you were meant to live? After more than 60 years of studying human growth, the strongest truth I've learned is this: you become what you think about consistently. It's not about what you occasionally wish for or dream about when inspired. It's about the thoughts that repeat in your mind every single day. What you focus on constantly starts to mold your reality, and that's why a mentor once told me to write my goal on a card and read it several times a day. I still remember when I first wrote mine. I want to have $25,000. I chuckled inside. It felt ridiculous back then. At the time, I was earning about $4,000 a year and owed $6,000. Having 25 grand felt like saying I wanted to buy a spaceship. But he said, "It doesn't matter if you believe it yet, just write it down, see it daily, read it, repeat it, live it." You might say, "Bob, it's just paper." And that's where most people miss the point, and the card has no power, but the habit of reading it does. When you look at that card often, your brain starts building new neural paths, and that changes how you feel, how you act, and what you notice. You start noticing new opportunities, people, ideas, and signs that lead you closer to your goal, all triggered by focused thought. It's not magic, it's science and vibration. The brain has a filter system called the reticular activating system that tunes your attention. That's why when you decide to buy a car, you suddenly see it everywhere. It was always there, but now your system is tuned into it. The same happens with money. If you wake up thinking about debt and fear, your brain finds more problems, but a clear goal helps it search for solutions. Everything shifts when you write down exactly what you truly want. Not what you think you can get, but what your soul deeply desires. Write it with boldness, without fake humility or fear, and read it every single day, many times, imagining it's already part of your reality. If your goal is to earn more, write, "I receive $10,000 each month." If it's about clearing debt, write, "I am financially free." If your dream is to own a home, describe it in detail. The colors, the view, the feeling. Don't just imagine it. Give it physical form. Let your mind and body interact with this dream tangibly. Repetition forges identity. I've watched this habit change lives forever. A young man came to me years ago. He had grown up in a chaotic home, constantly told he would be a failure like his father. At 35 years old, he earned minimum wage and couldn't even look himself in the mirror without feeling ashamed. I spoke to him once. I gave him a blank card and told him to write what he truly wanted. He laughed, but then wrote down his goal. He wrote, "I want to earn $10,000 per month." It might seem small to some, but to him it was like climbing Mount Everest. But he read it every day over and over, and in less than 2 years he started his own business from scratch. Now he earns over $50,000 monthly, and most importantly, he believes deep down that he deserves every penny. But listen, you must stay focused. Many people write the card, then toss it in a drawer or forget after a week. They read it for a few days, then get distracted and stop. That's like planting a seed and pulling it out before it grows. You have to water it. You have to stay consistent, keep going even when it feels like nothing is changing at all. Because the invisible always shifts before the visible. Life transforms from the inside out. You create the habit, then the habit recreates you. That tiny card can be the spark of your new identity. So tell me, why keep living like you have no say in your destiny? Why keep waiting for the world to change when the shift needs to happen inside of you? Grab a piece of paper now, don't delay. Write as if your life depended on it, because maybe it does. And when you touch that card, feel the certainty that your reality is changing. There's a clear line that separates those who live with abundance from those who struggle in lack. And it's not luck or background. It's mindset. The way you see yourself, the beliefs you hold about money, worth, the world, all of it creates your foundation. And if that foundation is shaky, no matter how hard you try, the results will collapse. That's the tragedy of most lives. Most people live with a mindset they never chose. They inherited it from parents, teachers, religion, or their environment. Phrases like, "I'm not meant for this," "Success isn't for everyone," or "Some get lucky, others don't," become subconscious truths. And your mind, my friend, obeys what it hears repeatedly. Your outer world mirrors the exact state of your inner world. If there's fear, doubt, or limitation within you, it'll reflect in your work, relationships, and finances, no matter where you go. You can change cities, jobs, friends, but if your mindset stays the same, the outcome stays the same. That's why I say, your self-image is the thermostat of your life. It sets the ceiling of your reality. That's why even when someone suddenly inherits a fortune or wins the lottery, they often lose everything within just a few years, because their outer world changed, but their inner world stayed the same. And your mind always pulls you back to the level it believes you deserve. I've seen this happen with celebrities, athletes, entrepreneurs, people who reach the top only to crash down soon after. Mike Tyson is a classic case. He earned over $400 million in his career and lost it all. Not because he lacked skill, but because deep down his mindset was still trapped in a past full of pain, scarcity, and trauma. His bank account grew, but his inner beliefs remained small, chained to an identity shaped by lack. On the other hand, some people like Oprah Winfrey rose from nothing and built an empire with their mindset and resilience. She went through abuse, discrimination, and extreme poverty, but at some point she decided she would not be defined by any of it. She nurtured a mindset of growth, abundance, and impact, and the world responded because the world always does. Now, do you understand why I say that 95% of success comes from mindset and only 5% from strategy? You could have the best plan, the best course, the greatest mentor, But if deep down you see yourself as average or unworthy, you'll sabotage it all. You'll procrastinate, get distracted, make excuses, quit at the first challenge and not even realize you're doing it, thinking maybe it wasn't meant to be. But it was meant to be. You just didn't feel worthy of receiving it, and I know that hurts. I know it hits deep for many people, because deep inside they feel they're living far below what they're truly capable of. And it's not from lack of effort, but from lack of inner clarity and structure. That's why I insist so much on building your self-image, because until you believe it inside, nothing on the outside will ever truly change. There will come a moment when you realize a simple yet life-shifting truth. You were never far from success. You were simply caught inside a version of yourself that didn't reflect who you truly are at your core. It's not the world that has to change, it's how you see it, because your mindset shapes your entire experience. That's the essence of everything we've explored. Your lens defines what you attract, what you build, and what you believe you deserve. Shift that lens, and suddenly, everything begins to transform from the inside out. If this message stirred something in you, if it resonated deep within, then you're ready to rise to the next level. The next video appearing on your screen will take you deeper into this journey and open new layers of awareness. We'll expand your vision and help you become 1% better than the person you are at this moment. This is the path. One intentional step each day, one mindful thought at a time, one conscious decision closer to growth. Lasting change isn't built overnight. It's created through small, steady choices repeated with purpose. Every clear step you take today becomes the foundation for the future version of yourself that already awaits. That newer you is already forming, because you've allowed progress to happen, even if it's just a little each day. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'll see you in the next video where we keep building, growing, and evolving. Stay open, stay willing, and trust that what's coming your way will match the energy you now carry within. A better version of you is already unfolding. One thought, one action, one step at a time.